Mark from the States, Mark from the States, it's Mark from the United States.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Mark from the States. How are we doing today? I am doing fantastic. I hope you are as well. Thank you so much for coming. Come sit on this big fake couch. You know the drill. I appreciate each and every one of you who've decided to come back and hang out with me today. Today I'm going to learn about Aldgate, if I'm saying that correctly. What is Aldgate? I don't know. And I'm hoping to learn something new today. Today, we're going to watch a video by the History Lord. So, as always, right below me, there'll be links in the description to this video. I encourage you to go watch the video first, and then come back and watch it with me. And that way, of course, you can point out the things that I inevitably miss, which I'm sure there will be many. Also a link to his channel. I really enjoy History Lord. Lord Hume is Lord Clifford Hume, to be exact. He's a great human. He's wonderful. I love his videos. A lot of them are just little quick, like 5-minute videos. Easy to get down a rabbit hole with him. He doesn't always take the most popular topics. He does a lot of things around London. Not so much anymore. I think he's done a lot. He used to be or maybe he still is. I'm not sure. I haven't talked to him in about a month or so, but maybe a little bit longer than that. But he was a tour guide, I guess would be the term, of London, and so he you know, a lot of facts, a lot of stuff. This guy can talk about London, and but it's not just London; it's other places and surrounding areas. This, I'm assuming, is in London. If Aldgate, I'm assuming the gate part is the Roman part, and so we're going to learn something today. At least I will. A lot of you probably know exactly what this is, and you are just here to see me go, huh? Which is fine too, because as we all know, I do probably the bulk of my learning in the comment section or through email, when a lot of you add context and point out other things that he doesn't present in the video, and or you see me go, what? And you guys are just unbelievable when it comes to helping. So I will go ahead and say now, thank you to all of you who do. So anyway, hope everybody's doing well. Let's go ahead and get it. It's a beautiful Saturday morning here. Sun hasn't come up. It's 4:30 or so on a Saturday morning. And hopefully you're having a wonderful day. And let's get into it.
Welcome to the History Lord. You join us here, and we're in Aldgate Square. And today, I thought we'd do a little wander around just this area. So it's a small area, Aldgate, and well, let's start with why it's got its name. So, James, roll titles.
Go support his channel, please. It's real important that you do so.
Welcome to London.
Walking tours.
So how does Aldgate get its name? Well, if we come over here, just down there, it says Site of Bastion. There we are. Wonderful. And this is on the corner of modern-day Duke's Place. Now, the Bastion was the Aldgate, but how did it get its name? John Stowe, the famous 16th century historian and mapmaker, said it came from Aldgate. It was a corruption of Aldgate. There was another historian in 1918 who said it was a corruption of Aldgate. There was a pub next door. Got a corruption from
I love that. I hope that's the answer.
Comes from a corruption of Aldgate, A-double-L, which is a free-for-all, so anyone can get through here. And some say it was a corruption of Earlgate, which was an old Anglo-Saxon word for foreigner. I think we've mentioned in one of our previous videos that a foreigner was just anyone who lived outside of the city of London. Now, the first gate was mentioned here in 1052, and over the years it was built and rebuilt, And the first incarnation, we believe, was just here, two round towers, and then it was rebuilt in the 12th century and then the 13th century with square towers, and it was finally moved from here in 1761, and it was moved just a little bit further down the road to Bethnal Green. What happened to it? Nobody knows. Demolished over the years and just disappeared.
Oh,
For
that's a
those of you
bummer.
who are familiar with the area, we know that this isn't the site of the Aldgate itself. That's a few yards further to the south, but we had a few technical issues on the day and we didn't have any footage to show you. So I went back a few weeks later and I've recorded it, and this is the actual site of the Aldgate. And it's at the south of Aldgate Square, just opposite a well-known pharmacy and coffee shop. So,
You know what? And I'm not saying it doesn't happen here in the States, but one of the things I love about London and other cities in England and the UK as a whole is all the plaques, is all these things right here on the sidewalk that say site, for instance, like this site of Aldgate. I just love that. You know, most people who probably go to London as a foreigner probably don't even notice this stuff as they're if they haven't watched, like, since we started our channel together. I've of course have gotten to know that there are plaques on walls everywhere pointing out little historical facts or people who are associated with that area or that building or whatever, or in this case on the sidewalk where there's the site of Aldgate. I absolutely love that. I just wish we would do that here, and maybe they do. I don't. Maybe I'm one of those people who just never noticed it here. Like, I've been to New York City a few times. Obviously, I've been to Los Angeles a bunch of times, and yeah, I guess there are some instances, but it's usually like high tourist areas. They'll have those things. You won't just be, and I'm gonna be saying this, and someone's gonna point out, oh, actually they do that, and you just don't notice it or never knew about it, and that could be true as well, but I haven't noticed it or was even aware of it. It's just, I absolutely love it. I can't imagine only you being the UK and England and London, as we're watching this video, does this sort of thing, but it just seems like it, because in all the videos that we watch together and that I get to learn from, they're just always, now, of course, I'm always kind of trying to see if I notice them. And when I do come to London, I'm going to be, head on a swivel, as they say. I'm going to be looking around every building because, of course, every building there is probably, as you know, so old already. So there's always something historical happening. And obviously that's not so true here in the States as, in the grand scheme of time. Our country is not very old. So as a country, but still, I mean, we've been around for a few hundred years, right? So, I really wish it would be more prevalent, I guess, or at least more, I don't know how to say that, but just I wish it was there to see and read, and not just in the tourist places that are saying, hey, come visit here because of X, Y, and Z. This is, just kind of, if you are not already understanding that this is the site of Aldgate, you just be walking right over it. And even if you did notice it, you'd be going, yeah, okay. But there's just so much to see, I guess is what I'm saying. I just wish it would be more, I guess I know the United States doesn't have a lot of history, but I wish they would show the history that we do have more. And it could be, it doesn't have to be these big, history shaking events or whatever, or it doesn't have to be about the most famous person in the world or from the United States or whatever. It could be just little things. I wish they would do that more. I know a lot of places do here in the States on a small scale, but they're generally because they're promoting their, whether it be a building or whatever, as a historical site. I wish it would just be a lot of these little random plaques saying other things as well. I don't know. I hope you guys understand what I'm saying. All right, let's get back to Lord Hume here.
Oh, there you go. Back on track again.
Now, as it
I
was
love
a
that, though.
fortification,
Just love
we
it.
have portcullis that came down. As a fortification, it was actually breached twice. First in 1381 in the Peasants' Revolt. Lots of people got through here into the city of London. And also, I think it was 1481 or 1471, get me dates right. It's 1471 in the Siege of London, just after the Battle of Barnet. It was breached again. One of the people who actually lived here, it was a military fortification, but they let out the rooms, was a chap called Geoffrey Chaucer. You may have heard of him.
I have heard of him, yes.
A great tome called The
Canterbury,
Tales.
yeah.
And he actually lived here whilst he was a customs officer. I think he lived here for about 12 years. But as I say, demolished or removed in 1761 and taken down to Bethnal Green. Now we're going to have a little wander around here now, and as we go down, if James just does a quick turnaround, we're actually here outside what is now called the Aldgate School, and this was founded, I think it was 1709, as the Sir John Cass Foundation. But in September 2020, the pupils had a vote to change the name because John Cass was a notorious trader in slaves in the North Atlantic slave trade. So they wanted to disassociate themselves.
Yep, that's going to happen.
I think they had 5 or 6 names to choose from, and the pupils themselves chose Aldgate School, which is nice and simple. It's the only state-funded school inside the City of London, and I do believe its Ofsted, so very, very good indeed. But there you go. So we're going to go down that way now, and we're going to show you where Aldgate gets its name from today. So let's go this way. So here we are. It's just round the corner from the old Aldgate itself, and we're on the junction of Leadenhall Street and Fenchurch Street, and we're looking at this structure behind me. This is the new Aldgate pump. The original Aldgate pump, mentioned in the reign of King John around about 1200, was just by the Aldgate itself. This arrived in 1876 and is now a Grade 2 listed structure. More of that in a moment. Now, the original pump itself, on the line of the old Roman wall, supplied water for many, many people in this area. And according to legend, I shall read this part. According to legend, it was in appearance, it was bright and sparkling and cool and of an agreeable taste. Sounds wonderful, doesn't it? You'd like that, James, wouldn't you?
That is such a British statement. An agreeable taste. I love it. I absolutely love it.
Agreeable taste, a very agreeable taste. Now, the original source of the Aldgate pump was a stream that started up in Hampstead in North London and wound its way down to Aldgate and then eventually into the Thames. As it traversed all of that lovely landscape through North London, it went through several cemeteries and plague pits, and the calcium from the bodies leached into the watercourse and eventually came out at the Aldgate pump. So the agreeable taste was the centuries of bodies that went before. Tasty, yes. It did cause an outbreak. It was known as the Aldgate epidemic at one point, and the pump was shut, and they moved the pump here, and it was put onto the mains water, and epidemic stopped, thankfully. Now, Aldgate itself, let's come over here, James. There we are, doing my little bit. 1876, this was unveiled, and it has here as its head a wolf.
I love
is a
that. That's
nod,
awesome.
apparently, to the last wolf that was shot in the city of London. When that was, I can't find out, but you may know. And if you do, leave it in the comments below. Wonderful. Thank you very much.
And let me know.
What else can I tell you about this?
What an
This is
odd,
now-
what an odd thing to, obviously not honor, but odd thing to recognize. The last wolf. I guess wolves were probably a big problem back in the day, considering with livestock and whatnot. So yeah, I guess. Regardless, it looks pretty cool. I love that. Can't just have a little water spout. We're gonna make this awesome. Put a wolf's head on there. It's pretty cool.
unofficially the start of the East End of London. The city stops here, and back there behind James is now called the East End of London. I think it was the 1860 book by Charles Dickens, The Uncommercial Traveller. He mentioned it, that he had to go to Aldgate Pump one day. It's also, I've got to read this. I've got the quote, but I can't remember quotes because I'm getting old these days. It was quoted once that east of the Aldgate Pump, people cared for nothing but drink, vice and crime. Well, coming from the East End myself, I wholeheartedly agree, but there you go. I'm joking, I'm not into vice at all. But, or crime. So,
Yeah.
I'm waffling again.
I don't know.
It's very noisy here on this Saturday morning that we're filming, so we're going to go back over there and we're going to look at a church and the station. So, see you in a mo. James, over here, please, thank you. We did all about police boxes elsewhere on the channel, so try and find the video if you can. But come here, follow me, this way. Let me pick up this. We're going to go inside this little garden here, 'cause it's a nice little oasis in the middle of Aldgate. And yes, anyway, there's some people about that we don't want to see. So come hither. Look, nice little bench. So, wonderful. Now, it's a bit damp, so I'm not going to sit down today, but this is St Botolph's without. Very strange name, it just meant it was outside the city walls, so that's what without. There's a twin, or got a sister church, which is about a quarter mile that way, and that's now called St Botolph's within. So within the city walls, but there you go. Now, the earliest known church...
Right, and to the point.
Botolph's was around about 1115, and it was founded by Matilda, who was wife of Henry I. It was also associated with a priory that was associated just inside the city walls here that was called Holy Trinity. So it was rebuilt in 1621, and it was lucky enough to escape the Great Fire of London. Now, it was again rebuilt and refurbished between 1741 and 1744, but sadly this was destroyed, or partly destroyed, during the Second World War in the Blitz in 1941.
Doggone it.
The church was bombed. They gave it Grade 1 listed status in January of 1950, along with about 5 or 6 other churches in the city of London, and it was restored, and it was due to be reopened in 1964-65, but there was a fire during the restoration, and so it was in 1965 it was finally opened by the Bishop of London, and the Lord Mayor of London, and Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother.
Oh,
During
cool.
the Victorian times, this was also known as the Church of Prostitutes. Now, because Aldgate back in then, or this part of Aldgate, was on a traffic island, more or less as it is today, the prostitutes would, or the ladies of the night,
there we go.
Make it a bit more polite,
Yes.
would walk around here, and so the police were very reluctant to come onto the lit line, the traffic island, and arrest them. So they got the name, the Church of Prostitutes.
Church of Prostitutes.
Now, when I was younger, my mother...
It's a tough name to have.
Days out, all into London, and she hated trains and the underground, so we only ever went on buses. So I remember pulling up here at Aldgate bus station to change buses to go into the city of London, and I actually remember this quite well. As a kid, it was a landmark for me. I knew this is where we'd change buses. And I do believe, or I do remember, vaguely in the back of my head, that it was a homeless shelter back in the 1970s and early 80s. I'm not sure if it still is, but they do lots of charitable work.
Okay.
Now, next door, or just a couple of doors down, is Aldgate Station. So let's have a chat all about that. So next stop is here, Aldgate Station. First opened in 1876, and then the line was extended in 1882 round to Tower Hill to complete the Circle Line. The station as we see it today was opened in 1926, and it was designed by Charles Clark, who was the senior and chief architect of the Metropolitan Railway. Now, in 1933, it became part of the London Passenger Regional Board, London Transport to you and me, and it's been that way ever since. And in 1941, this became the terminus for the Metropolitan line. Right up to date, modern history. On the 7th of July 2005, a dark day for London, 4 suicide bombers set off bombs on 3 underground trains and a bus, killing 52 people in total. Well, one of the first bombs to be set off was here. A Circle Line train had left Liverpool Street, was just pulling into Aldgate Station when it blew up, and 7 people sadly died.
I knew Aldgate Station sounded familiar. We'd watched a video on that terrible day, and gosh, I didn't put 2 and 2 together. I wish my brain worked better. I wish I could retain everything that I've seen over the last couple of years. It's difficult, but yeah, it's weird how some things just kind of like it almost like tickled my memory. It's like, hey, this is kind of significant. You've heard this name before, but I didn't want to like say it because I didn't want to like seem stupid. Which I'm kind of thinking now that I am already achieving that. But yeah, that was a tough video to watch. That was.
Move forward. These days, it's still the terminus for the Metropolitan line, and also has a Circle Line running through it. And I think it has, I think it's about 12 or 14 Metropolitan line services leave here every hour. And I think there's 5 or 6 Circle Lines in each direction. But there you go. Anyway, bit of a downer on that one, but 7-7. I'm sorry about that, but it is history. So we're going to end on a high note, and we're going to go round the corner and to tell you all about the fantastic Petticoat Lane.
Petticoat Lane, I've heard of this.
For the day. This behind me is now called Middlesex Street, but we still know it as Petticoat Lane. Now, back in the Tudor times, it was known as Hog Lane, and it ran outside the city walls, and this is where some of the city merchants kept their pigs. It's also where pigs were driven down as an alternative route to get into Smithfield Market, about 3/4 of a mile away to the west. It was in 1590 that people started coming here to start trading, especially in second-hand clothing, and then by 1608 a few cottages appeared. It's still quite a pretty lane, and still a nice countryside area outside the walls of the city, so much so the Spanish ambassador to James I built a residence here. Sadly, by 1665 the plague had come, and the City of London and this area lost about 1/5 of its population to the plague. Moving forward, it was the 17th, early 18th century that the Huguenots from France, the Protestant Huguenots, were being driven out, and they came over here into exile, and they set up their weaving establishments, especially in the new town of Spitalfields, which is just a bit further north. Now, Spitalfields, just to give context, is a corruption of Hospital Fields. It's where they used to wash and dry all of the sheets. And so the Huguenots came over, and the weaving and the dyeing industry. So they used to dye their cloth there as well, and hang it out in the vast fields that used to be there on tenter hooks. They would stretch it out in tenter fields, and they'd be on tenter hooks, so it was held at great pressure and all this. And so even today, if you're on tenter hooks, it means the pressure's there for you to learn something. You're on tenter hooks, and that's where it comes from. Anyway, I'm digressing. Let's go back to Middlesex Street. They set up their little market down here unofficially, and they would sell their goods and their clothing that they manufactured. Moving to the 1870s, 1880s, this is when the Jewish population were being driven out of Eastern Europe and the pogroms in Russia, and they came and set up establishments here. They took over the manufacture of clothes as well, and this became a very popular Jewish area. Even up until the Second World War, though, the market was unregulated and not illegal, but certainly unofficial. And police cars would often drive down here with their bells ringing, and so would fire engines occasionally, just to try and disrupt the Sunday morning market. It was an Act of Parliament in 1936 that gave it its rights to Sunday trading, and it's been that way ever since. Moving forward again, the 1970s, 1980s saw an influx of Eastern Asians coming in, and they set up mainly in the Brick Lane area, but they did overspill into the Petticoat Lane area. Now, it became Middlesex Street in about 1830, just to make it a little bit nicer than calling it Petticoats, I would imagine, and it's been that way ever since. Now, if you come down here on a Sunday morning, it's a bustling area, not just clothing. You can also get very good street food and some great coffee and some great specialty teas as well. Take it from me. Now, I'm going to reminisce again. When I was a child, as I mentioned earlier, my mother used to bring me out all over London, especially on the buses, and Sunday mornings, we would, not every Sunday morning, but certain Sunday mornings we'd come here, and my mother would take me up and down Petticoat Lane along with my grandmother, my late grandmother as well. I was in awe of the barkers, the people who would shout to try and entice you to their stall, or the hawkers who would sell you something that was insignificant, but to them it was pure gold. It was wonderful. Their imagination held no bounds. My favourite, though, were the people who sold the porcelain and the dinner services. They were incredible. They'd have a basket. They'd set up, so they'd sell you a 6-piece dinner service. They'd set up the 6 dinner plates. That's them all. They'd put in the 6 side plates. They'd put in the sauces. They'd put in the cups. They'd lift it all up and they'd throw it in the air, and they'd catch it as well. Not just to show you their skills, but to show you how robust this particular piece of porcelain was.
Okay.
And then the bidding would start. Well, not bidding. They'd say the first, this costs £50, but I'm not asking 50. I'm not asking 40 or 30. The first 5 hands would go up £20 a piece, and hands would fly up. It was a marvellous place. So, as a young chap who was, destined to be an actor one day, these characters, they're all up there, and I've used a few of them on stage in the past. Anyway, I'm reminiscing. Come down here.
I didn't know you were an actor.
To Petticoat Lane Market. It's a
Did
marvellous
I?
place. There you go. Going to stop the video now. Thanks for watching. We do hope you enjoy these videos.
I do. Thank you.
Especially, we enjoy making them for you, especially on a chilly morning like this. It's it may be April, but the wind is hurling through and my hands are very cold. But we enjoy making them for you. James does as well, don't you, James?
I
Say
do.
your conviction, you.
There we go.
There you go. If you want to know what James does other than make these videos, have a look for Last Line Films. Want to see what I do, go to historylore.co.uk. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you very soon. Take care.
I love it. I probably wouldn't have, that's what I love about channels like History Lord here and Lord Hume. It's not going to be on a brochure highlighting the sights to see of London. It's not going to be on any of their material to woo prospective tourists. But that's why I love seeing these little things. It's like, I would go there. I wouldn't even know what that meant. Jeez. But, yeah, just interesting stuff. I love it. And I just love the way he presents it as well. Please get over there. You don't need to like this video. You don't need to subscribe to our channel, although I'd love if you did. But if you only have 1 like and 1 subscribe in you today, go do it on his channel. Please, please, please. It's important. This is, very cool. Hope you enjoyed that. Hope everybody's happy, healthy, and safe. Aldgate. I'm going to go ahead, in my mind, of course, basically I love pubs and all that stuff, and I'm going to say they called it that because it was derived from Aldgate. I do like the Aldgate, and if you're you're considered a foreigner if you didn't live in London. I love that. So yeah, that would be cool too. But yeah, pretty cool. I think I'm going to do another video. We're going to do a live stream, I believe. I say that now, next Sunday. God, I probably should have done it tomorrow, but it's too late really to make an announcement. I think maybe my next Saturday and Sunday have been taken up. I was gonna say next weekend, but I'll have to find out if that's even a thing. It may be next Sunday. So let's go ahead unless things change. I think I'm gonna try to live stream next, our monthly live stream. That would be next Sunday if it works out for me. I think I'm not sure if I did hear some rumblings. My wife may have planned something, some sort of thing that we have to go to out of town, and I don't know if I'll be here on Sunday, but I'll know in a few days here. Take care, everybody, and we'll see you in the next one. Yes, I hope so. All right, bye.
Mark from the States, Mark from the States, it's Mark